Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to talk to you today. I'm Laura Frizzell, and I'm the General Manager of 360i's media practice. 360i is an ad agency, and we work with marketers to navigate digital marketing with strategy, creative, and media. But what we started out at, though, and we continue to be, even as we've become so much more in the last 10 years, is a search marketing agency. We have also with us today CubeSmart, who is one of our clients at 360i, and we manage search marketing for them. So what that means is that we are helping them to find ways to put advertising show up on the search engines. So today I'd like to speak to you about innovations in paid search analytics. 1.2, whoops, I need a clicker. Yeah, here it is. Now you can see it. 1.2 trillion searches are made every year on Google, and 71 billion will be spent on paid search ads in 2016. That's enough to overtake television. You've all seen them before. You probably didn't know you were looking at advertising because they're not that exciting looking. There are a few lines of text. There's no imagery. Believe me, no young person dreaming of a career in advertising while idolizing Heather Locklear on Melrose Place ever dreamed that advertising could be this unsexy. But these very unsexy ads will account for half of all marketing spend in 2016, according to Forrester. Why? Because they are moneymakers for marketers. A marketer spending $1 on these ads can return $6 to $20 in revenue on their website. That's revenue that they can track and that they can indisputably show is tied to dollars they spent in search marketing. And imagine not $1 in search marketing, but $1 million or $10 million in search marketing. That begins to get very exciting to marketers. So while search marketing is very valuable to marketers, managing search is a very cumbersome process. So, first of all, when someone types self-storage units near Brooklyn into a search engine, we need to respond with an ad that's relevant to that specific search and lands on a page that is also relevant. And it takes a lot of work to get that right. A single marketer may have literally 100,000 keywords that are relevant. And we need to identify all of them. And we need to write custom ads for each of them. Because the best ad for storage near Brooklyn is probably different from the best ad for deals on storage in Brooklyn. And then we need to figure out where each permutation of keyword and ad should land on CubeSmart's website based on the intent of that inquiry and what they were probably really looking for when they got there. Oh, and I almost forgot. Each one of these keyword, ad, landing page combos, they can each have a different bid price, a different amount you're willing to pay to have them appear on a search engine. Depending on the probability of whether it's going to return $2 in revenue for CubeSmart or $10, we have to decide what it's worth for us to pay for each of these keywords. And if we get that formula right, and the search engine decides that the combination of ad and query and landing page is the most relevant for the searcher compared to all the other advertisers who are trying to show up on that same keyword, then the search engines will reward us, and they'll allow us to pay a lower price to appear in a top position on the page. But if it's wrong, based on the search engine's rules, which, by the way, are based on an algorithm they don't make public, then we get punished, and we have to pay more to appear. So with hundreds of thousands of keywords, each with a different ad and each worth a different price that we're willing to pay, we dreamed of a better formula and a process for managing search. And we believe that if we could just find that better formula and process, we could be more effective, more efficient, and we could help our clients make more money. Well, we found it. The media and the advertising professionals at 360i got together with the advanced analytics pros, and together we developed a suite of advanced analytics systems and processes collectively called Pulse. And Pulse tells us that formula for the right combination of keyword, budget, and price. And it streamlines a process for helping us figure out how to group and structure those hundreds of thousands of keywords to be able to make sure we're making the most revenue for our client in that campaign. And a result of these systems, we've driven an extra $1 billion in value for our clients over the last 4 years. And this is why we have earned so much business from so many of Google's top spenders. See, in advertising, most of the people that you'll encounter will remind you of this. They will be creative, charismatic storytellers. And as someone who has been in the ad business for 25 years, I can confirm how important and valuable these storytellers and creative thinkers are to being successful for an ad agency. But today, that alone isn't enough. And Don Draper would not be the same superstar he would have been in 1970. Data scientists are what round out the band to create the new rock stars of marketing. So we've come to see this at 360i, and we marry marketing with data science and technology. And the industry has taken notice of this approach. For the last 9 years, we've been rated a top search agency by Forrester. They determine this through a very rigorous process they go through every 2 years that results in the publication of their Forrester Search Wave for their clients. And this year, we're very proud to be the only leader in their search marketing wave. Twice, we've earned OMMA Magazine's Search Agency of the Year award. And awards are nice, but what really matters the most to us is that this approach has earned us the business of 5 out of Google's top 10 advertisers. So let me introduce the team and explain our presentation to you. Myself and Kevin are from 360i. I manage the department that capitalized on Pulse, and I'll come back to you later to convince you of the benefit. Kevin manages the department that designed and developed it. Kevin and I worked together a long time, about 9 years now, and when students of marketing, the Heather Locklear wannabes, ask me if they really need to know this math stuff to succeed in advertising, and this has really happened, by the way, I tell them, yes. But not only that, I tell them with Kevin and his team as partners, they make us mere mortals in advertising really look like gods. And then they come work at 360i because they're very excited to be able to work with folks like Kevin and team. So Kevin will speak about some key innovations in Pulse. Daniel and Matt are from CubeSmart, which is one of our most innovative clients and a key contributor to the intellectual property. Daniel leads CubeSmart's marketing function, and Matt is vice president of business intelligence for CubeSmart. He leads their revenue management and advanced analytics. Daniel and Matt are co-authors, and they will explain paid search at CubeSmart. And while they might not be the Don Drapers of this story, they tell me they don't have the hair for it. They made me say that. They are the model of marketers today. They marry creative, strategic thinking with an appreciation for data science. So now I'll turn it over to the person who brought data science to 360i, and I'll let Kevin talk to you a bit more about Pulse.
Thanks, Laura. Of course, anyone can be tall, dark, and handsome. It takes real skill to be short, bald, and handsome. That's it. These are the jokes, folks. Okay. So search is not what people think. It's how people think. In the movie Ex Machina, the eccentric billionaire Nathan argues that the search paradigm will be the basis of artificial intelligence. This is something that operations research professionals understand. Intelligent search algorithms are the basis of many of our most successful tools. What's new is semantic search. And what I'd like to speak to you today about is a little corner of that area called paid search. But it's an important little corner because it is the biggest source of funding for the World Wide Web. Paid search is dominated by Google, but Yahoo and Microsoft also are important players. What you see as a result of your search is a search engine results page. It usually displays a remarkably relevant list of links. On the other side of that page is a furious and complex second price auction. 360i is largely regarded as the master of this auction, and the systems and processes that follow are the reason why. So admit it. You've probably typed some pretty strange things into a search bar. Do I need to show the audience what you did? I can't do that. So what were you thinking? No, really, what was your intent because that's my central issue. I need to understand your intent so that I can respond in a supportive way. If you're shopping, I would like you to consider a 360i client. If you want to just express your emotions, I may want to save my money and not bother you. Paid search is a supportive, not an interruptive model of advertising. So look, if you type self-storage, we can have a meaningful conversation. I can say, hey, check out CubeSmart. But if you type, my brother's bass boat is taking up too much room in my driveway, well, maybe you're a potential customer, maybe you're a whiner. Those longer keywords, let's say more realistically, climate-controlled self-storage near Orlando, are referred to as long-tail keywords because there's so many of them, and they are so infrequently used. 6 billion searches a day. 1 billion of them have never been typed before. Long-tail keywords are generally regarded as maybe 1 click per month, that kind of thing. So here's what's happening on our side of the search engine results page. Daniel, who is VP of Marketing at QSmart, just gave Laura $5 million and told her, get me some customers, but don't pay too much per customer. Then Matt chimes in saying, look, there's no point bidding on locations without availability or with poor pricing. So Laura has to deal with these 6 billion per day searches. The large ones like self-storage, pretty stable, click-through rates, conversion rates. She can figure out how much to bid for each one. But understand, on every one of those 6 billion, it's a different price that she has to pay. Now, most of them she doesn't care about. They're not potential customers. But for the fraction that are, she comes to me and says, Kevin, you got any analytics for this? My answer was, no, but we could build some. So, while we are trying to figure out what we want to pay, we are competing with many other vendors who also want to purchase those keywords. So what we've done is we've addressed Laura's problem by developing a series of two analytic tools. ART, our account restructuring process, roll the, okay, can we go back? So, ART is our account restructuring process. What that does is ties together those 6 billion keywords to the ads that we want to display to them, and it also ties together that with the appropriate bids. It's a structural program. Our budget optimization has replaced historically sort of winging it forecasts with rigorous statistical models and a full mathematical programming optimization. Our predictive bidding, you'll notice that there's a little $2 hanging off the end. Why that's there versus the other ones is the nature of our justification. Predictive bidding allows us to come up with bids for every one of those really long-tail keywords. There's a couple of aspects to that. One is that when a media manager like Laura or the people who work for her get around to looking at that keyword, it's got 2 clicks, maybe 1 conversion last year. You can't figure out what to bid on it. And there's so many of them, you never get around to it anyway. Any keyword that's in the predictive bidding algorithm is actually only manageable by a predictive bidding algorithm. That has given us a huge advantage in the marketplace because we can build out the long tail very effectively. And finally, our health monitoring system does what computers do best. It stays on top of any mistakes we make 24/7. Bad ad copy, irrelevant landing pages. It tracks and requests fixes for all those things. We made about $120 million worth of mistakes that were fixed thanks to this system. So now can we cue the video? So what you're looking at here is a sort of artist's rendering of our predictive bidding system. And what it does is it matches the trigrams in any keyword with the trigrams in any other keyword to build out a similarity score. The key thing about this similarity score is that it allows us to group keywords together that are linguistically similar. And what we use that for is as a proxy for correlation. With that, we can actually start managing groups of keywords clustered together that have enough volume for us to make good bidding decisions. The Kalman filter is an algorithm that is very good at taking unobserved data, such as the poor data from a single keyword, and sort of mapping it to data from a cluster of keywords. So now what we've got is the ability to use the Kalman filter to make incremental adjustments to those individual keywords based on the behavior of linguistically similar keywords. This is the sort of significant innovation in this invention, which is the idea of using semantic similarity and a machine learning algorithm to make bids on an auction. It also has, to my mind, a lot of applicability well beyond paid search. The first one, of course, that comes to mind is display, which is the next form of advertising, which is also an auction. But really, television is not far behind with auction media. And really anything that uses the linguistic information on the web to inform either an auction or a numerical decision can use this kind of technology. And of course, it's all wrapped together in a very nice decision support system that tracks the behavior of all of our keywords. And you can see that little box popping up at the side telling the media manager how to fix what's going wrong. So Eric Schmidt said, machine learning will be the basis and fundamentals of every successful IPO within the next 5 years. 20 years ago, I stood on this stage, well, not this one, but, and spoke to Edelman judges about a dynamic bidding platform that adjusted bids for a car rental company, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and the bids were for position on a screen, a reservation screen. Remarkably similar to what we're doing now, except now informed by the linguistics or the semantics of the World Wide Web. So now I'd like to introduce Daniel. He's the VP at QSmart. QSmart is not our largest client, but it certainly is our most innovative, and they've been a key driver of a lot of the stuff that you see here today.
Thank you, Kevin. So I'm going to spend some time introducing you to CubeSmart and self-storage more broadly, and how our paid search efforts are a vital part of our marketing mix and overall business success. Then my colleague, Matt Marin, is going to walk through how 360i's Pulse, custom fitted to our business, helps us dramatically improve the efficiency of our paid search efforts. CubeSmart is one of the largest owners and operators of self-storage facilities in the United States. We're the fourth largest specifically. We've got 700 locations in 30 states. The self-storage industry is a pretty simple business. If you think about it, at the end of the day, we're selling the most abundant thing in the universe. Space. We're literally renting 3 walls, a concrete floor, and a roll-up door to residential and commercial customers on month-to-month leases. And for most of the operators in this highly fragmented, mom-and-pop dominated industry, it is a simple business. But when you look under the hood, it has the opportunity to be surprisingly complex, particularly in the way of customer capture. And CubeSmart has a distinct advantage with its scale and strong relationship with 360i of standing out above the competition in the way that we can attract and capture customers. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So our customers tend to be people who are going through some sort of life event, some transition in their life that creates a need for space. They're moving, they're getting a new job, they're getting married or divorced, they're having children, they're retiring, maybe they're coming home from college for the summer. They may even be passing away. However good or bad these life events are for our customers, they're great for business and they create a very stable demand profile. This is a broad array of use cases for storage and people demand it in all phases of their life. The challenge, however, is that these events happen pretty infrequently, making this a fairly low transaction frequency business. As a result, the customer is not terribly likely to have had a need for self-storage in the past. In fact, 50% of our customers have never used self-storage before. And even if they have, it may have been several years since they last used it. The result of this is that customers tend to have a lot of questions when they're looking for self-storage. Half have never used storage, so they may have questions that are very basic, like how does it work? Are the leases month to month? What is climate control? How are my things secured? Additionally, humans are not very good with estimating three-dimensional space, so customers often don't know what size space works for their needs and therefore have questions like, will a 10 by 10 storage unit fit all of the things in my one-bedroom apartment while I'm moving in with mom and dad because I just got fired? And more fundamentally and most importantly, they have questions about who the operators in the space are who might be able to offer a solution to their need and whether they're located nearby. And when customers do have a question, who are they asking? That's right, they're asking Google. And that's why search marketing is so critical to our business. CubeSmart needs to be presented to the prospective customer as a viable solution to their need at what Google calls the zero moment of truth. That's when the customer is in hunt mode. They're asking Google directly and specifically for a solution. Google effectively is the toll bridge that's connecting our prospective customer to us. So we need to be visible on the search engine results page, but we have to be there smartly. With paid search representing more than 1/3 of our total marketing budget, we have to make sure that we're getting the most bang per buck possible. And importantly, in self-storage in particular, not every click or conversion is created equal. Given the very different use cases and underlying needs for self-storage, we have wildly varying customer lifetime values. A college student renting space for the summer in El Paso will have a dramatically lower value than a commercial customer who plans to use our storage space as a long-term warehousing solution for his or her business in, say, New York. At one end of the spectrum, our customer lifetime value at the 10th percentile is just $80. But at the 90th percentile, it's $3,900. And as you imagine with the tails, that distribution gets even wider. Those differing customer values weren't very different targeted acquisition costs, and specifically paid search bids when we're trying to attract these customers. Now, the challenge we have in optimizing this problem, optimizing paid search with a full ROI focus, is that we have to overcome some structural challenges inherent to our business that present a surprisingly complex operational and analytical problem. Now, Matt will walk you through some of these challenges and how Pulse helps us navigate through that complexity so that we're always managing toward ROI and not only getting in front of our customers, but doing it smartly.
Thank you, Daniel. As Daniel mentioned, CubeSmart operates over 700 self-storage facilities across 30 states. Because of the diversified nature of our customers across these geographies, they tend to use a wide variety of geo-modified search terms, like city, neighborhood, or zip code, when searching for storage online. Those terms are then further broken down within each geography by customer behavior and storage intent. Reflecting this cross-section of factors, customers bid on a vast array of terms, including cheap vehicle storage in Orlando, or climate-controlled box storage in 32801. The combination of these key terms result in our need to bid on hundreds of thousands of varied keywords. With 360i's support and using the capabilities of Pulse, we've created a sophisticated campaign structure to reflect the intersection of geography with customers' storage intent and search behavior. We have unique campaigns within each geography separated between branded terms, i.e. those including CubeSmart, from subsegments of non-branded, more generic terms, such as storage, self-storage, or mini-storage. This campaign structure enables us to optimize our paid search bids based on the specific predicted value we derive from each subsegment of consumers. Approximately 90% of clicks come from about 10% of keywords. So it's easy for most advertisers to only focus on the head terms that represent the bulk of volume. That would be a mistake, however, as long-tail keywords tend to be significantly more efficient, as those keywords have less competition and higher conversion metrics. This challenge of bidding on a much vaster array of keywords is particularly acute in self-storage, where we also have the challenge of low transaction volume relative to most industries. On average, we have only about 30 rentals per store per month, resulting in very low transaction volume relative to most industries. This translates to a median of just 2 clicks per keyword per year across our campaigns. 360i's predictive bidding engine, which is part of the Pulse system, enables us to bid on hundreds of thousands of keywords by using its linguistic similarity algorithm to aggregate transaction volumes across like keywords, such as moving storage unit in Knoxville with storage unit for moving in Knoxville. Grouping keywords allows the predictive bidding engine to then recommend optimal bids, even on keywords that see as few as 1 or 2 clicks per year. In the highly competitive and supply-constrained self-storage industry, ROI of the keywords we bid on can change over time and vary by region and storage unit characteristics based on a number of operational factors. Changes to our competitive pricing position or our promotion availability impact the percentage of visitors to our site that convert to reservations. When occupancy increases, the number of available options on our website decreases. If a prospective customer can't find the unit he or she is looking for, our reservation conversion rate will also decrease. Additionally, there are other factors that directly affect the revenue we generate from reservations on our site, including varying prices, changing lengths of stay, and reservation to rental conversion rates. Each of these impacts has a direct relationship with the price we're willing to pay for the clicks driven toward those units. The complex campaign structure that 360i created enables us to take advantage of these effects on the ROI of paid clicks. The data feed integration 360i developed for CubeSmart integrates with its predictive bidding engine within Pulse, enabling an ROI-based optimization of the specific bids for each keyword. At many companies, the marketing and pricing sides of the house are not as interdependent as they should be. At CubeSmart, our revenue management systems are constantly evaluating changes in demand and supply to adjust the rates we charge on each storage unit. With the data feed integration, we're able to feed changes to each of these operational factors directly into Pulse, immediately impacting the bids we place on each relevant set of keywords. With each of these systems and algorithms, CubeSmart has realized substantial improvements in performance from paid search. In the second half of 2015, our reservations from paid search doubled over the same period in 2014, with less than a 30% increase in spend. This increased our paid search ROI over that same time period by over 50%. It's because of 3 of the components of Pulse that CubeSmart has been able to realize these tremendous gains. The campaign restructure, which provides the ability to manage varying bids across thousands of keywords, hundreds of thousands of keywords. The predictive bidding engine, which enables intelligent bids on these critical but sparsely used long-tail keywords. And the data feed integration, which allows us to update those bids based on constantly changing operational metrics.
So to help clients like CubeSmart achieve results like that, it isn't enough to just drive clicks to the site. And it isn't enough to just think about the likelihood of a sale from each lead. You need to model the impact of search marketing that it has on the business. So you don't just see a boost to revenue on the income statement, but you also see impact on the balance sheet. With Pulse, we've built systems that read your search query and deliver the most relevant response possible. We've developed economic models which are uniquely integrated with the linguistics of the World Wide Web. We have put statistical rigor into search marketing at 360i, and we've automated process that was complex and time-consuming. And that rigor and automation adds up to revenue for our clients. To give you an idea, before Pulse, our media managers determined how much to spend each day by using tools from Google that everyone, including Google, admitted were not that accurate. Imagine for a minute that you're a retailer and it's December. Every day counts. You have a finite budget and you need to spend the optimal amount each day to take advantage of demand. Each day, because you're not going to spend the same amount to take advantage of demand on December 1st that you're going to spend on December 15th. What the best search marketers will do is look at the previous year and they'll estimate which days will have the most demand that will lead to the greatest profits, and then they'll decide how much to spend each day based on that. And having managed a team of those sophisticated search marketers, what happens was that at the end of the month, you would always look back and you'd realize you should have spent more on the 15th and less on the 10th. You should have spent less on the 21st, but more on the 19th. You either spent too much of your budget too soon and didn't have enough for the real peak days left over, or you spent too little on the days that would have been the best. With Pulse, we now apply statistical methods that support what-if analysis and optimization, and that helps us nail day of week, day of month seasonality and take the cream from each day. Kevin talked to you about ART, our automated restructure tool. I can't impress upon you enough how important restructuring is to an account when you want to make improvements to it. And I'll spare you the slog of what goes into it, because unless you're a search marketing geek, it's not that interesting. But it is one of the first things we do when we take over new marketers' accounts. And we have to repeat it periodically, because when you are adding thousands of keywords at a time, after a year or so, they might not be grouped together in the best way for the engines to reward you in a way that you want them to. So, to give you an example, I recall for one very large marketer that we had seen their bar graph, their line graph of revenue, and it was pretty predictable every day, pretty predictable, a little up, a little down, but pretty predictable. On the day that restructure, that new structure was launched in the Googles, that one day on that bar graph, that line graph, their revenue shot up by 25%. It was a beautiful graph, and it stayed there. And that's typical of all of our clients after we restructure an account. Here's the problem. The problem is that with 100,000 keywords and multiple pieces of creative associated with each, it took the media team 6 months to do this, because they still had to juggle the day-to-day management of search while trying to put to all the pieces of the keywords together into a better structure. 6 months. With ART, we can restructure an account of the same size in a week. So we see faster returns. So over the course of 20 clients, because QSmart is just one of many clients who are taking advantage of Pulse. So over the course of 20 clients in 4 years, Pulse has brought us to our zero moment of truth. And it has added up to a lot of zeros for our clients. Thank you. And we will take some questions.
Okay, thank you.